evening, we will start to review for midterm exam. And so you look at our content, right? We have chapter 1 is about basic economic concept, right? And chapter 2 is supply, demand, and market. Right? So today I will review the topic that we have in exam. So the exam will cover what? Exam, I designed the exam about 50 questions. In which I separate into 3 groups. The first group, I say learning outcome 1, right? CL1, CLO1. It's about theory, right? And learning outcome 2 is CLO2, right? About problem. And problem mean the calculation, right? And learning outcome theory, they call CLO3. It is about if you log in by Hcmut account, I don't have to admit. But if you log in by Gmail, and I have to admit, so next time when you log in, use Hcmut account. So CLL3, right? And then this one will be ability to analyze and mostly analyze and evaluate. Okay, so you see, that would be about 23 questions, and 23 questions, and this one is about 4 questions. So this one will be 46%, and this one 46%, and this one is 8%. So you see the structure of the exam: 23 like theory question, 23 problem, I mean calculation and analysis. Now that is the structure. So this is the closed book exam. No note. I would not refer any kind of A1 note, anything. So it's fully closed book. So you just have your own. You should use your calculator, right? You should have calculator, pen and pencil, and I give you paper and everything. You the multiple choice exam, everything on the paper, right? Okay. So this is the structure of the exam. Okay. Any question about the structure of the exam? Any questions about this one? Okay, you have no questions, right? Now I go into detail. So we have 2 topics, right? And we'll be sorry, this one. Now chapter 1. What will be in chapter 1? Anyone tell me, what do you remember in chapter 1? So the first will be now, anyone tell me what are the basic economic concept? Anyone? Yeah, trade off. Okay, good. and then opportunity cost, right? So do you, anyone tell me what is opportunity cost? What is opportunity cost? What is opportunity cost? Okay, I will ask you later. Now the first topic will be straight up. The second concept will be marginalism. What does it mean by marginalism? Anyone remember what is marginalism or marginal thinking? It's marginalism and marginal thinking. Just give me keywords that explain what does it mean by marginal thinking. Anyone? Anyone? Principle number 3. Yes, Thư? No, no, that not that marginalism. Now, marginal. What does it mean by marginal? Marginal means marginal mean marginal means additional. You know, additional. If you know what is additional, and in marginal thinking means that it's good that we say about when we make decision, when we make decision, we have to compare the additional or marginal benefit and marginal cost. Right? That's what they call marginal thinking. And the word additional or marginal means, you see, it's represented by data, right? Is it? So when you use delta, it means that you have to forget the past. Because when you take delta, right, and we take the letter one minus the previous one, and something in between we remove, right? So in this case, marginal thinking, we always consider additional. Additional, it means the future benefit and future cost. And we do not consider something we call sunk cost. We have to forget the past or sunk cost. Okay. That marginal thinking. That means that we have to compare additional benefit and additional cost, right? The next principle will be, the concept will be incentive, right? Incentive. And if you you watch the video clips about Introduction to Economics by Marginal Revolution University, they say that economic is a study about incentive, right? So that's the four principle about how people make decision, right? How people make decision. How people make decision. The next one, we talk about how people interact. So anyone tell me what are the three principles about how people interact? What are the three principles? Yes, can. Yes.
How people interact. There are three There are three. Trade and interdependence can be mutually beneficial. Markets are usually a good way of coordinating economic activity among people. The government can improve market outcomes
Good, good.
by
Thank you very much. Right. So we have three principles. The principle number five say that trade can make everyone better off. The same meaning as what you mentioned, right? Trade can bring benefit to everybody. So we have the example about that one. And next one, market. Market is a good way to allocate resources, right? And the last one is sometimes government can improve market outcome, right? Now, what does it really mean by the next three? The first one, appreciate the role of the exchange by specialization in exchange. And then that represent for the market. And market, they have one thing they call invisible hand. Anyone tell me what is invisible hand? Do you remember what is invisible hand? What is invisible hand?
Um, Invisible hand is a metaphor used by Adam Smith, which I think relates to the demand and supply of goods in like free market to reach its equilibrium price.
Mhm. That can be simply say like this. But Adam Smith do not talk about supply demand. At his time, he did not talk about supply demand. He say, Adam Smith say, right, people, people do everything for their own benefit. I interpret to make it easy to understand. Right, people do everything for their own benefit. Unintentionally, they make things better. I make it simple. It means that in the market, there is a buyer and seller. Now, when I buy anything, I buy it because my own benefit. When you sell something, you want to bring benefit to you. And then you want to sell, I want to buy, and we get together. We do not really want to help other people, but because we interact with each other, everybody happy. Everybody happy. So invisible hand, it look like there is a hand moving resources to the best place, but we do not see that hand. All right. So invisible hand represent for the market, the pre-market. Okay. So invisible hand is a metaphor for the free market. Free market. Okay. So that talk about invisible hand. So many some theory questions ask you, what does it mean by invisible hand? Okay. Okay. And why government can improve market outcome? Sometimes, not all the time, right? where sometimes market, government can improve market outcome. When government can improve market outcome? When market fail, right? When market fail, is it? Is it? When market fails? When market fail? When market, there is sometimes we have the problem with property right protection. Sometimes we have the problem with the externality. Sometimes we have the problem with the public good. We have 2 chapters talking about this one in chapter 10 and 11 of the book, right? But anyway, so the theory would say that when market failure, when market fails, then we need government intervention. So that's 3 principles about how people interact and how economy work, right? How economy work, we have 3 principles. Productivity, right? Principle is the productivity. Principle about the inflation. Inflation is caused by printing too much money. Okay, and the last one is short-run trade-off between what? Between inflation and unemployment. So that's the 10 principle in chapter number 1. 10 principle chapter number 1, right? So the question can ask you something about those things, right? Some question. Any questions about the first chapter, Introduction of Economics? Any questions? Okay. Now, next question will be next chapter, chapter 2, right? It's about the thinking like economists. Thinking like economists. Now, what are the key topics? If you have a book with you, if you look at a book and you see some keywords in this chapter, can anyone tell me the keywords? The keyword will be, right? Model. Circle for diagram. Production possibilities frontier. Production possibility frontier. And normal. And last one, between. Before we talk about this one, you have to know what are the 3 basic economic questions. What are the factor of production? What are the 4 factor production? What are 4 factor production? What are four factors of productions? Anyone? What are the factors of production?
Land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship.
Exactly, exactly, right? Four factor production. And and when we talk about this one, right, we say that we use the resources. And when we talk about that one, what is circular flow diagrams? What is circular flow diagrams? What is circular flow diagram? In chapter 2, what is circular flow diagram? Anyone? Anyone tell me what is circular flow diagram?
It is the flow of resources from firms to households and goods and services that flow from households to firms.
It means circular flow diagram demonstrate economy, right? In which we have two players, right? They are households and firm, right? Right? They interact in two market, right? Two player in two market. What are the name of the market? Factor market and good and services, right? The market for goods and services, market for factors, right? And so the theory question may ask you something like, in a factor market, who are seller, who are buyers? Can you answer? Can you answer? Can you answer? In factor market, in factor market, it's different. Remember that in the we have household and we have firm, right? We have firm, right? They interact into market. I cannot draw it in my mouse, not very. So this is the factor, right? Factor and good and services, right? So in factor market, who are suppliers? Who are supplier?
The household will be supplier.
Exactly. That household supplier. And we firm good demand for what do they supply? What do they sell and buy here? They sell land, labor, capital, right? And the firm will supply goods and services and household buy it. So that's a simple diagram, right? Just remember that who are supplier, who are buyers in the good and services market and factor market. Okay, that's circular flow diagram, right? And next, what is PPF? What is production possibility frontier? Anyone tell me the definition of PPF? PPF, right? Anyone? What is PPF?
Is it the combinations of output that the economy can possibly produce?
What we need a letter part. Now you are right. You are correct. When you talk about the maximum, now what is PPF? Maximum, right? Combination of output, right? Maximum combination of output produced by the economy can produce. I mean, maximum combination of output the economy can produce, right? The economy can produce anything else. Anything else? I need a letter part. Anyone else? What is missing here? What is missing here? Anyone tell me the missing part in this definition? Anyone? One important thing is I want to hear your voice. Current resources and
Existing technology.
technology. Right. So we should have the following keywords: maximum combination, right? With current resources. And you remember that when we analyze the problem, right? So economy have 720 labor. It means that they are current resources, and they also technology to talk about the productivity, right? The current productivity of economy. So with current resources and productivity and technology, how many products can produce? So PPF show the maximum combination of output we can produce, right? So the block Y and X. So this curve they call PPF. Now that some situation, some scenarios, every point on the PPF curve, we say that economy is efficient. Economy is really efficient because all resources has been used to produce, right? However, if any point, let's say F, any point inside the curve, what do we call? Inside means We are not efficient. Why do we say this is not efficient? It's not restricted. It's not restricted part. It's not the answer. It's not the answer. Somehow it's correct, but it's not the reason. Why do we say it's not efficient? Give me the keywords. Because many resources are not used. We do not fully use all of our resources. Is it right? That's why we call it is not efficient. And every point on this. So if I want to move from F to A here, it's easy. However, if I want to move from A to B, when I move from A to B, I have more X, but I have to sacrifice Y. Is it right? So when we are on the PPF curve, right, and the opportunity cost to get additional X will sacrifice additional, we have to sacrifice Y. So economy really efficient. They call Pareto efficiency right here. Okay. Now, any point outside this curve is unattainable, right? Unattainable. Now, if I want to be here, there are two ways. Let's say, if I have a curve like this, in the exam, I may ask you this way. If the curve shift, let's say this one X, this one Y. If the curve shift like this, what is the reason? Anyone tell me, if the curve shift like this, what is the reason? Anyone tell me the reason why the curve shift like this? And the curve shift like this. Now, anyone tell me the diagram number 1, number 2, number 3. What caused the shift of the curve not growing? It's growing. It means that we have more output. But I want to know, what is the reason? What is the reason?
I think the first one is there's something change in the technologies, so the
Technology
quantity
of what?
increase, but of to produce the goods, but the price does not change.
No. I wanted to have a better answer. Anyone? Productivity of what? It's true that improve productivity. If you say improve, it rotates, right? It rotates. So in diagram 1, so the theory question will be like this. The diagram look like this. What is the reason? What is the reason for the shift or rotate at the BPF curve like this? Anyone? If the exam question like this, you cannot answer. Anyone know the reason? Yes, increase in the resource? No. It increase in resources. The diagram 3. The diagram 3, if you have more resources, the curve shift to the right. It's diagram 3, not 1 or 2. Because in the diagram 3, you have more resources, right? And you can produce more. Is it? So 3, if you have more resources, it will be 3. However, 1 and 2, the reason are not. Anyone? Anyone? You are correct. You are correct. Not specialization is not the reason. Specialization is not a reason. Specialization is not a reason. Specialization just simply give us some point out of the curve, but cannot shift the whole supply curve. Technological advance, yes, but if technological advance in both product, it will be like this. Yes, what kind of good? X or Y? X or Y? Now, in diagram 1, it showed that productivity of the production of good X increase and productivity of the good Y the same. And there's nothing changed in the number of input. The second diagram shows the improvement in productivity of the product Y and productivity of product X stay the same. All right, and there's nothing changed in input. The diagram 3 may caused by 2 reasons. The first reason is they have more input, more labor, for example. Or the second reason that productivity of both good X and Y is a better, right? It can be increased like this. Now, there will be one question, but I can draw the PPF curve in the straight line, but sometimes I draw the PPF curve. It's not a straight line. So what is the reason? What is the reason that make the PPF curve have bow shape like this, not the straight line? Reason. PPF curve. Yes. What relation? And then that not, but not that not the key points. Yeah, but that's not productivity. That's not productivity. I want to know the keywords here. You can Google why PPF curve not a straight line. Why PPF curve is a bow shape. The curve now economic growth is mean that we have more, right? And then economic growth over the time we have more output, so it shows the economic growth. But my question is, when the curve will be straight line, when the curve is bow shape. Curves here is a bow shape. Google, and then you will see that one. You know, good. No one, no. The reason is keywords they call increasing opportunity cost. Increasing opportunity cost. Opportunity cost. Because now, if the curve is a straight line, we have constant opportunity cost. But when we have a bow shape like this, think about this one. At this one, if I want to increase this as increase the same amount of x, I need this amount of y. But if I want to change the same amount of x, right? I need more this one bigger than this one. So when we have increasing opportunity cost, then the cost, I mean the PPF curve is bow shape. It's okay. Now, so the question in the exam may ask you like this, and if you understand it, you can do it better. Is it okay? So that's a PPF curve. So sometimes it gives you the diagram and say, what is the reason why the curve shape like this? Now, let's take something. Now, can you log in? Can you log in socrative.com? And we start to do this one. I see some people come in. Laman Letui come in. Log in this one and try to come to Socrative. Log in Yuitan, right? And then you see, let's take now the first questions. What are the opportunity costs? Find the opportunity cost to produce car and rice in B? How can we answer these questions? How can we answer these questions? How can we answer the questions? I see that some of you answer already. It's only 50% correct. Now, anyone tell me the way to answer this question, the methods to answer these questions. Tell me, if we look at the questions like this, how can we answer? How can we answer? Anyone? No, just some people answer the question. If we face a situation like this, how can we approach the solution? If I ask you to find the opportunity cost, all right, and in this case, how can I do it? Anyone? Yes, Minh Tuấn.
Teacher, you take the maximum productivity of rice, 120 you like it's 3 because it's 120 over 40.
Mhm.
The maximum.
Exactly right.
Yeah. And
so that one is when you take 120 divided by 40. What is that number? 3, right? But what does it mean by that number?
For one car you need 3 rice. Like one car is equal to 3 rice, right?
All right. So the opportunity cost of one car is 3 rice in country A or B?
A, teacher.
No. Blue is A. The orange is B. You take 120, you divide it by 40, and the orange curve is country B. So in country B, the opportunity cost to produce a car is 3 rice. Is it? But they ask you what? The opportunity cost to produce a car in A, not B. So in A, what is opportunity cost to produce a car in A? How much? How much? You take
It's 5.
180 divided by 36 is 5. All right? Is it? And the opportunity cost to produce a rice in B is one third of a car. So what is the best answer in these questions? Anyone? What is the best answer? What is the best answer in these questions? Oh, 67% correct only. What is the best answer? B, right, exactly. the opportunity cost of one car is 5 rices, and one rice is 3 car, 1/3 of a car. It's a difficult questions. All right. Please answer. Please answer. Okay. Now we move to the second questions. Okay. We take a break for 10 minutes. 10 minutes. And during the break, if you do not take a break, you do the question from 1 to 8. 1 to 8. Yes, Camilla?
Sir, I do have a question regarding the online class.
Yes.
Is it compulsory to attend both?
No, no. No,
Oh,
it's not. It's just a review, right?
yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Is it okay? This is the review for your exam, so it's not compulsory. If you can try, it's okay. All right, take a break, and come back. We come back at 7:30. 7:30. We come back at 7:30. It's okay. Take a break.
I love economics. I began studying economics when I was 13, and I haven't stopped yet. Economics really has changed my life and the whole way I see the world. What's so powerful about the discipline is just how much it shapes how you understand everything around you.
But perhaps you're asking, what's my incentive to learn economics? Well, that's a great question. You've already hit on a key economic insight: incentives. For example, why is the service at a local restaurant typically so much better than from the cable company?
Or why do laws which supposedly protect endangered species sometimes end up with more of those animals being killed?
Or why do big toy companies sometimes advocate for regulations which raise their costs? Incentives are the key.
Another example might help us explain. Way back in 1787, the British government hired sea captains to ship convicted felons to Australia. The conditions on those ships were just awful. On one voyage, more than 1/3 of the men died, and the rest arrived beaten, starved, and sick. The public was outraged. Newspapers called for better conditions, the clergy appealed to the captain's sense of humanity, and British Parliament passed regulations requiring better treatment of those prisoners. Unfortunately, those attempted solutions simply didn't work. The death rate remained shockingly high.
So Tyler, as a good economist, how would you solve this problem?
Well, there was one economist at the time who came up with a novel solution. It was implemented, and it basically worked. Instead of paying the captains for each prisoner who embarked to Australia, the government would pay the captains only for the prisoners who arrived alive. Overnight, the incentives of the sea captains changed. The survival rate of the prisoners shot up to 99%. As one observer put it, economy beat sentiment and benevolence.
So what's your incentive to learn economics? People hear that I'm an economist, and they ask me about managing their money. And economics does have some lessons for investing in the stock market. But economics is much broader than that. It's the study of human action, how people make choices, and how they should make choices under scarcity. Economics will help you with your choices, whether picking a career, parenting a child, or deciding how much education is a truly worthwhile investment.
Overall, economics will give you a deeper understanding of the key issues of our time. Economics can be hard. Retraining your brain to look at the world in a different way isn't always easy.
But the reward is a new set of eyes to see the world. So, are you ready to begin?
Supply and demand are fundamental concepts in economics. Usually, they're represented by a graph like this. So what does this mean? Well, let's start with the demand curve. In short, a demand curve shows how much of a good people will want at different prices. What happens when there's a big sale? Well, at a lower price, people buy more shirts, more pants, more video games, and they do stuff like this. This is what happens on Black Friday when retailers lower their prices to get people to buy stuff for Christmas. The demand curve illustrates the intuition for why people go nuts on Black Friday. Price is shown on the vertical axis, and quantity is shown on the horizontal. Here's the normal price, and here's the Black Friday reduced price. Simply put, the quantity demanded increases as the price gets lower. But let's delve a little deeper. There's a different demand curve for every good or service out there, but the ideas are the same. So let's look at the demand curve for one of the most important products in the world, oil. Oil is used in a wide variety of products, from fueling cars and planes to heating homes and making plastic for rubber duckies. Looking at the demand curve for oil, we see a familiar relationship between price and the quantity demanded. At a high price, $55 per barrel, there's a relatively low demand, let's say 5 million barrels. At $20 per barrel, 25 million barrels are demanded. As the price goes down, the demand for oil increases. And at $5 per barrel, 50 million barrels of oil are demanded. But there's more to why the demand curve looks like this. As we mentioned before, oil has many uses. Some of those uses are high-value uses, uses for which oil has few substitutes. An example would be jet fuel. Right now, you can't fly jets on corn or natural gas. If you want planes that fly, you're stuck with using oil. Other uses are low-value uses, like making gasoline or plastic for these guys. When oil prices are relatively low, the oil that is being demanded is used for high and low-value goods alike. As the price of oil goes up, so does the price of making plastic and gasoline. And at some point, the cost of these low-value use products will get high enough that some people might skip buying a rubber ducky altogether or buy a substitute like a wooden bath toy. Same goes for gasoline. As the price rises, people will economize. They will buy more fuel-efficient cars or forego that road trip completely. For these consumers, the benefit of buying these products is too little to justify the cost. At these high prices, the demanders that are left are the ones who value oil the highest. For them, the benefit of, say, having planes that fly outweighs the increased cost. They still demand oil. So, with a simple line, the demand curve summarizes all the many and diverse ways that people respond to a change in price. But it doesn't stop here. If you want to test yourself, click Practice Questions. Or if you're ready to move on, just click Next Video. Now that we've got the demand curve down, let's move on to the supply curve. A supply curve shows how much of a good suppliers are willing and able to supply at different prices. As with the demand curve, there's a supply curve for every good and service. And again, the ideas are the same, so let's look at the supply curve for oil. We see
Okay, welcome back. The price goes up, quantity of oil that companies are willing to supply increases. In this example,
low price, $5.
Okay, now we come back. I see that because some people answer question 2 and 3. Now, question 2. Some people haven't answered yet. Question 2. Question 2. Question 2. What do you answer for question 2? Now, are you back? Raise your hand if you're back. Raise your hand, okay? So, question 2. Can you access Socrates? Can you access Socrates? Yes, right? Okay, question 2. Find the opportunity cost of car and rice. Because this diagram is different from the previous one, but the same way, right? So for car in A, what is opportunity cost of a car in A? Anyone? 2? No. 2D. 2D opportunity in A, right? So you take 144 divided by 36 is how much? It's 4 rices, right? And 1 car 4, and then so the best answer for this one is it D? Is it correct? How many people? A lot of people 2D, right? A lot of people 2D. So the best answer will be D, right? You take 144 divided by 36. So 1 car is 4 rice. And you take 40 divided by 240, and you have 1/6, right? 1/6. Okay. Is it difficult? Easy or difficult? Is it easy? Next. Find the country that have absolute advantage in producing card and absolute advantage in producing rice. And then you have to write A, B. Now, if A has absolute advantage in producing card, you write A and B. Now, how to answer this question? How to answer this question? Anyone tell me the way you answer these questions? Anyone tell me the way to answer the questions? Anyone? Anyone? No one. If we face the situation like this, right? In class, we learn like in the we have number and you draw diagrams, right? And so in this question, you have diagram. We have to look backward, right? In the reverse way, right? How to answer this question? Yes, Don?
If a country has absolute advantage in produce something, um, when it specializes, its productivity is bigger than the another country.
No, but the question is, do not ask you about specialization or anything else. Just look at the diagram, and we know that oh, whether the country have absolute advantage in anything. Now look at cars. Look at car. Would country has absolute advantage in producing car, and why? Which country has absolute advantage in producing car, and why? Why B? Tell me the reason. The reason is more important than the solution. Yes?
Because when we comparing the maximum productivity of cars between the two countries, the country B
Do you
has
know productivity in this
uh,
case?
sorry,
No, that's not productivity. That's not productivity.
uh, okay, so
That is total
production.
output we can produce, right? This is the total product we can produce, not productivity, right? Productivity means the output per input, right? Productivity is an output per input. But in this case, we do not have productivity. In this diagram, based on the diagram, we cannot find the productivity. But I know that if the country use all of their resources to produce car, they have a 40. Another country, they have the same amount of input, right? But they spend all resources, they have only 36. So in this case, if the two countries have the same amount of input and use the input to produce car, so country B can produce 40 and country A can produce only 36. And therefore, we say that country B has absolute advantage in producing car. Okay, and the same for rice, right? The same for rice. Rice, would country have the absolute advantage in producing rice? Would country A or B? A, right? A, right? Because with the same amount of input, A can produce more rice than B. Then we can say that A has absolute advantage in producing rice, and B has absolute advantage in producing car. Is it okay? It is okay with these questions? Is it okay? All right. If you have no questions, we move to the next one. You write this one, A, B, and A, right? Look at the answer. B and A. Okay. Next question. By the comparative advantage, would country have comparative advantage in producing car and rice? Now, when we face the questions like this, anyone tell me how to answer the questions? Yes, Tuấn?
When a country has comparative advantage in producing car, it means its pro opportunity cost is less than the another.
Exactly, right. So to answer these questions, the first step is to find the opportunity cost. All right. So what the opportunity cost to produce a car in A? What is opportunity cost to produce a car in A? How many rice?
5.
You take 180 divided by 36, right? It's 5. So what if opportunity cost to produce a car in B? You take 120 divided by 40, right? So you got 3. So what country have lower opportunity cost, A or B? A or B?
B.
B, right? So B has comparative advantage in producing car, and A has comparative advantage in producing rice. Right? Is it right? It's no, no, no. You have to right. This is the better answer, right? BA. Is it okay? Is it okay? Do you have any questions so far? Any questions so far? I try to make it very slow so you can follow, right? It's okay? Now, next, number 5. If a country fully specialize in producing products that they have comparative advantage, find the total output, total car and rice they can produce. Now, if both countries specialize, now A will specialize in what? A will specialize in producing cow rice.
Rice.
A will focus on rice and produce how many rice? How many rice they will produce? Yes, 180. And B will produce car, right? And how many cars? So the answer will be, the answer should be 40 and 180. If you write like this, it will be the wrong answer because they ask car first and rice later, right? The rice later. Okay. Okay. Any questions about these questions? Any questions? Is it okay? Next. Number 6. Now this question is more difficult than the previous one because in the previous questions we see that the country have the absolute advantage, but in this case, uh, we know that country A. If I give you the diagram, say that give the correct answer, and sometimes they say country A has absolute advantage in everything. True or false? Country A has absolute advantage in both rice and car. Is it true or false statement? True or false? True or false? True or false? Country A has absolute advantage in both product. True or false? False.
False.
Right, false. Country B has absolute advantage in everything, right? In both rice and car. Okay, but they do not ask us that question. They ask us to find what? The comparative advantage. But how to find the comparative advantage? How to find? How to find comparative advantage? How to find comparative advantage? Yes, say it, say it, say it. How to answer these questions? How to answer these questions? Be active, be active. Don't let me say all of the time. Try to say something. Anyone? No one?
We compare the opportunity cost.
Exactly. All right. So what the opportunity cost to produce a car in A? An opportunity cost to produce a car in B. You take 240 divided by 40. It means 6. 144 divided by 36 is 5. Is it 5? No, not 5. Not 5, right? Not 5. Yeah, B is 4. So which country have comparative advantage in producing car? A, right? Is that A, right? And B. Do you agree? Now, many of you give the, oh, not all of you want to answer. That's why we have only 23% correct. Is it okay? Number 7. This question very easy. This question is so easy, right? Make sure that all of you know how to answer these questions, right? Any problem? Any problem? Let me know. Let me know. And the last question will be, given PPF curve to country, if country A allocate all the resources to produce more car, so how many car, how many rice they can produce? How many car, how many rice they can produce? So car first, rice later. What is the answer? I see that some people answer this question already, but many of you haven't answered yet. We have 9% correct. Please answer. Please answer. Please. Many people haven't answered yet. I want to see your answer on support. What did you answer? Please answer. Where are you now? Where are you now? I see so many people here, but there's no one answers. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4 people answer. Even though, we have 37, 35 people in class, but there's only 20 people on Soccer team. Where are you now? Where are you now? You know that the question is simple, but if you do not try, if you do not try to answer it, it's wrong or right, it can be okay. But if you're wrong, you can learn and you can remember it much better. Where are you now? Yes? This question is easy, right?
It's the balance resource 72 and 18.
72 and 18. So number of car will be 18. And this will be the correct answer. Correct? So, okay, so far we try to answer all the questions related to the PPF curve. Any questions about PPF? Yes?
Sir, I don't understand how it got 18 and 72. Could you please explain further?
Okay. Now, you see this curve, right? You see this curve, right? Country A, the color is blue, right? Blue, right? Now, if they use 50% of the resources to produce car, so it will be a half of 36. It means 18. And then use 144 divided by 2 is 75. It means 50% of labor will use to produce car, and we have 18 car. And we use the remaining 50% of labor to produce rice. And we take 144 divided by 2, and we have 72. Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, good. Any other question? Any other questions? All right. Take a short break. We just come back at exactly 8. We come back at 8. Online learning. We need break. Okay. We need break. And during break, you can answer the following question if you do not want to take a rest. Okay. But anyway, take a short break for 5 minutes. Okay.
Barrel, 50 million barrels are supplied. So in general, a higher price means a greater quantity supplied. Let's delve deeper and see why. Oil exists all over the world, but it's not equally easy to extract. In some places like Saudi Arabia, it's really easy to get oil out of the ground. It costs about $2 a barrel to extract. Oil in the US, like from Alaska, is a lot deeper, and getting it out costs more, at least $10 per barrel. And producing oil from an oil rig like the Atlantis rig in the Gulf Coast is even more expensive. That rig has to descend more than a mile underwater before drilling even begins. When oil prices are relatively low, the only suppliers that can turn a profit are those who can get to the oil cheaply, like Saudi Arabia. As the price goes up, other suppliers in Nigeria, Russia, and Alaska who have higher extraction costs start to become profitable, so they can enter the market. As the price gets higher, even the most expensive extraction techniques become profitable. The supply curve slopes upward because the only way the quantity of oil can be increased is to exploit higher and higher cost sources of oil. As the price of oil goes up, the depth of the oil wells goes down. With this simple line, the supply curve summarizes the way suppliers respond to a change in price, including how suppliers will enter and exit the market depending on the price. So far, we've said things like, if the price goes down, buyers will want to buy more, or if the price rises, suppliers will want to sell more. But we haven't said anything about how prices are determined. That's the subject for the next video, equilibrium. If you want to test yourself, click practice questions. Or if you're ready to move on, just click next video. We know from previous lessons that the demand curve and the supply curve show how buyers and sellers respectively respond to changes in the price of a good. In this lesson, we'll show you how the interactions of buyers and sellers determine the price. Let's start with the punchline. The equilibrium price is the price where the quantity demanded is equal to the quantity supplied, right here. And this is the equilibrium quantity. Why is this the equilibrium price? At any other price, forces are put into play that will push the price towards the equilibrium price. It's kind of like a ball in a bowl, where the ball always returns to one stable position. The equilibrium price is the only place where the price is stable. To see why, the first thing to understand is that buyers don't compete against sellers. Buyers compete against other buyers. A buyer obtains goods by bidding higher than other buyers. And sellers compete against other sellers by offering to sell at lower prices. Think about it. At an auction, the buyer with the highest bid gets the item, and the seller with the lowest price makes the sale. So, let's say the price of oil is currently $50 a barrel. That's above the equilibrium price of $30 a barrel. At $50 a barrel, the quantity supplied is more than the quantity demanded. So, we say there is a surplus. So what happens? It's sale time! When there's a surplus, sellers can't sell as much as they would like to at the going price, so sellers have an incentive to lower their price a little bit so they can outcompete other sellers and sell more. The price will continue to fall until the quantity demanded is equal to the quantity supplied and equilibrium is reached. Now, let's say the price is less than the equilibrium price, say $15 a barrel. At $15 a barrel, the quantity demanded exceeds the quantity supplied. A shortage. And what happens now? When there's a shortage, buyers can't get as much of the good as they want at the going price, so they compete to buy more by bidding up the price. And now, since buyers are easy to find, sellers also have an incentive to raise the price. The price will continue to rise until quantity demanded is equal to the quantity supplied and equilibrium is reached. At any price other than the equilibrium price, the incentives of the buyers and sellers push the price towards the equilibrium price. Only the equilibrium price is stable. Now, let's take a deeper look at the market equilibrium and some of its properties. Remember that there are many different users of oil and many different uses for oil, each with substitutes, alternatives, and values. At any specific price of oil, there's a group of buyers who value oil enough to demand it at that price. And as the price changes, so do the buyers and their uses. On the supply side, at each price on the supply curve, we're looking at a group of suppliers whose cost of extraction is low enough to be profitable at that price. At the equilibrium price, these higher value groups are the buyers and these lower value groups are the non-buyers. Also notice that every seller has lower costs than any of the non-sellers. Since the buyers with the highest values buy and the sellers with the lowest costs sell, the gain from trade, the difference between the value a good creates and its cost, is maximized. In addition, at the equilibrium quantity, every trade that can generate value does generate value up until the very last trade where the value to buyers is just equal to the cost to sellers. Yeah. In a free market, there are no unexploited gains from trade and there are no wasteful trades. If the quantity exchanged were greater than the equilibrium quantity, for example,
Okay, welcome back. Any questions so far about PPF? Are you back? Raise your hand if you're back. Okay. So any problem with online learning like this? Any problem? Any problems? Yes? Is it okay? I think that I try to speak very slow, all right? And it's easy for people to follow. Okay. Now, so far we talked about PPF already, right? Now we move on to the next topic, the difference between normative and positive one. Okay. Yes, one convenient way of online learning is we can eat and learn at the same time. Okay, so you can eat and learn at the same time, right? All right. Now next, can we distinguish between normative and positive economics, right? What's the difference between normative and positive? What's the difference? Anyone tell me the difference between positive and normative? Anyone? What's the difference between positive and normative? Positive statement is fact, normative statement value choosable. Yeah, that's the definition. But can you mm, explain or differentiate by giving example or further explanation? Yeah, exactly. Positive is a fact, but positive normally is a kind of thing that we use a word that describe describe the word, the reality. Yes, describe the realities. And positive, we want to do what? Normative. I mean, positive, it describe the reality, and normative, normative means they use the word prescribe, right? Prescribe mean normative. We want what the world should be, right? What the world should be. It is normally the recommendations, right? They use value judgment to recommend anything, right? Okay. So the theory question may be like this: you can look at the quiz questions ask you about positive and normative, and even in the lectures, we also have some questions like this, right? Now, anyone tell me the difference between micro and macro, microeconomics and macroeconomics? Anyone? What's other difference between macroeconomics and microeconomics? Anyone? Please say something that do not make people sleepy. Please say something. Micro and macro, what's the difference between them? Hmm. Yes, 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 yes. So Microeconomics study individual behaviors, right? Individual behaviors, including like consumer behaviors, firm behaviors, market behaviors, right? So microeconomic measure individual behaviors. Macro, we concern about aggregate. Aggregate behaviors mean the total behaviors, including like national output, right? Inflation, unemployment, right? Government budget, etc., etc. Right? Right. So that macro. Anyway, so far I already reviewed the first chapter. The first chapter, right? First chapter, basic economic concept or introduction to economics. Any questions about the first chapter? Any questions? Questions? Some keywords, right? Opportunity cost, right? Three basic questions. What are three basic questions? What to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce, right? And also some example about opportunity cost, etc. Okay, any questions about the first chapter? Even we learned that the first chapter, but actually chapter 1, 2, 3 of the book. Right. Any questions? If you have no questions, we move to chapter 2, supply demand. And if you see the video clip I share, right, in the e-learning, I share the video clip by Marshall Revolution University. They have very interesting way to explain the concept, right? So if you have time, you just watch the video clip. Is better than mine, right? And the video clips help us to understand much lecture much better. All right, now we move to chapter 2. Anyone tell me, what do we learn in chapter 2 about supply demand? Can anyone tell me the terms, the concept we learned in chapter 2? Yes, Don?
Teacher, we learned about what is supply, demand, and the supply curve and the demand curve, and the quantities supply and the quantity demand, like determinants of supply and demand, and so on.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, in this chapter, even one chapter, right? But it cover chapter 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of the book, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 5, 6 chapter of the book. Now, in chapter 4 of the book, we simply talk about supply demand and its determinants, right? Anyone tell me what are the determinants of demand and what are the determinants of supply? Anyone? Yes?
Teacher, as I remember, the determinants of demand are the expectations, the substitutes are the complement, and the customer's income.
What else?
Let me think.
Now, thank you. Actually, you should let it. When we talk about determinants of demand, we have two type of determinants. The first type of determinants we call price determinants, and the price determinants cause the move because the move along the demand curve, right, may be increase or decrease quantity demanded. Or this in this case, we have to distinguish between change in quantity demanded and change in demand. Now again, change in quantity demanded and change in demand. Anyone tell me the differences between change in demand and change in quantity demanded? What are the differences between them? Anyone? Yes, say it.
Uh, the change in quantity demanded depends on the price of
Mhm.
the products, and the quantity and the change of demand depends on non-price determinants.
Exactly, exactly. Thank you very much. Right. So we have price determinant and non-price determinant. What are the non-price determinant of demand? What are the non-price determinant of demand? What are okay. What are the non-price determinants of demand? Include what? What you mentioned about expectation. Last one, right? Number of buyers, right? What else? Taste. This we talk about non-price, right? Right. Complement, right? What else? What else? Yes, income, right? Income. So they are non-price determinants of demand. And the change in non-price determinant will shift shift the demand curve to the left. All right, right. So this is the original situation, and there will be a shift of the demand curve to the right, we call increase in demand. Or a shift of the demand curve to the left, we call decrease in demand. However, if we move along the demand curve, they call change in quantity demanded. And this diagram they show it change in demand or increase in demand or decrease in demand. Okay, so make sure you know the determinant of demand, and the change in determinant may have different impact on the market. Okay, and what are the determinants? What are determinants of supply? What are determinants of supply? What are determinants of supply? Anyone? Determinant supply includes the input price, technology, government intervention like tax, number of seller, and expectation. So the supply curve got the same impact as the demand curve, right? And we also have the supply curve like this, right? So it can be the shift of the supply curve to the left or right, or moving along the supply curve, right? okay, and number of seller, right? So make sure you know the difference between the change in supply or shift the whole supply curve and change in quantity supply. It means that there is a change in price will cause the move along the supply curves. Okay, so this is chapter number 4, right? And but chapter number 4 will be more interesting with the dynamic of the market. Now understand if we understand the determinants of demand and supply, and if there is a change in the determinants, we will have different result. We have different result. Now the exam question normally asks you look like the lecture note. They say that what example? Now suppose newspapers say it's very good and very good for our health if we eat a lot of durian. If we eat a lot of durian, is very good for our health. So what kind of statement it is? What kind of statement it is? Anyone tell me what are the statement? If we eat more durian, it's better for our health. What kind of statement it is? Positive or negative? Positive or negative? Anyone? The research found out that it is better for us to eat more fruit every day. If we eat more fruit every day, this statement is positive or negative? No, it's not negative. It's positive because that statement based on the research, and the research found out that relationship, right? But if I say people should eat more durian to help the farmer growing durian, what kind of statement it is? Anyone? Yep, it's a positive one, a normative one, right? Okay, so this one, you see that if we understand the determinant of demand and supply, and we know that if there is a change in demand like this, right, and change in supply like this, right, and we may have different impacts, the change in price, the change in quantity, right? So that is chapter number 4. Any questions about chapter number 4 of the book before we move to the next chapter is electricity? But anyway, look at this one. Try to answer. Electricity is okay. Can you answer this question? Can you move to question 32? Okay, question 31. Can you move to question 31 and answer this question? Now you have 5 minutes to answer questions from 31 to 34. Can you do it? Now 31. Can you do this problem? Yes or no? Raise your hand so I can know that you can do this problem? You can do it. Do it now. What is the first step? Okay, anyway, you have 5 minutes. 5 minutes to do it. We'll come back at 5 minutes later. A minute later, I will give you the solution for this one. You answer from question 31, 31, 32, 33, and 34. No, no, not yet 34. Only 31, 32. 31, 32 only. Okay, do it. Many people have answered question 31. Okay, welcome back. Now, this question, anyone tell me the way to answer this question? Anyone tell me the way to answer these questions? Anyone tell me the way to answer these questions? If we, of course, in the exam, we have a similar questions like this, and they ask you to do a calculation. Anyone tell me? Are you back? Raise your hand if you're back. Okay, just few people raise your hand. And if we face a problem like this, how can we answer? Anyone? What is the first step? What is the first step? Yes, Tuấn?
Teacher, the first step is we find the price at the equilibrium price.
Exactly. And then?
And then we put the price in the quantity demand, like 400 minus 2 plus the price we found.
No, that's not the answer. Now, when the first step is to find the equilibrium price and quantity. So what is equilibrium price and quantity? What is equilibrium? P will be how much?
76.
And you take like it means that 380 divided by 5. So it will be 76. Okay. And Q will be
248, teacher.
248.
48.
Okay. Next, if you want to find the ED and ES, right? ED equal to how much? Equal to what?
Is it 248 divides 76?
Multiply 76 divided by 248. Is it right? It's how much? Much. Now, not many people answer these questions. Please answer. Please answer before me. Where are you now? Are you sleeping? I see 34 people here, but it seems that people are sleeping. It's the people sleeping, right? Please fill in the subjective here. I can see the Tin and Lâm Anh, Yahan. How about other people? Please answer. Please answer. It will be how much? 0.61 and inelastic. We have only two digit number, right? And this one will be 3 multiplied by 76 divided by 248 equal to, correct? right? And elastic demand is it's elastic demand, right? It will be elastic supply will be uh, elastic supply, right? Okay, most of you do not give the correct answer. The best answer will be now. Let me calculate. To now we take 76 multiplied by 2 divided by 248 equal to 0. So the answer will be nine. Right, Laman got correct answer. Laman got correct answer, right? And price electric supply will be it will be 0. Is that all right? And no one, I mean, is it okay? Is it okay with the 2 questions about electricity?
Teacher,
Is it okay? Yes.
I see in the formula of the price elasticity, it have the change in the quantity and the change in the price. So I don't see the change here.
Good, good, good. Now, anyone tell me how can we calculate electricity? How can we find electricity? Now, electricity equation, electricity will be equal to percentage change in Q divided by Q and percentage change in price divided by P. Now, if you attend class, you will know that in this case, we use the point elasticity. The point elasticity will be no, sorry. This one, better, right? Not percentage anymore. And then we will have this one will be is that is that is that right? Now we have P, we have Q, but what is the value of delta Q divided by delta P? Delta P. It is slope. It is slope. It is slope of the demand curve multiplied by and Q. Right? So this is the derivatives of the demand curve for P. Is it okay? We learned this one in class. We learned this one in class already, right? Is it? Is it okay? This is the formula they call point elasticity. Point elasticity. And in the arc elasticity, right? The formula will be right, and right. Okay. This one is midpoint method, right? So we have two ways to calculate elasticity. One way is to use the point elasticity. If we have one point and we have the slope of the demand curve or supply curve, you can easily find the elasticity. However, in case we have 2 points, then we use the midpoint method. Okay? Is it okay with this?
Yes, okay. Thank you, teacher.
All right. Any other questions? It seems that people are very sleepy. I asked many questions, but nobody answer. Just not many people actively in class. All right. So today we can stop here. And see you on Thursday. I still review on Thursday. So online class mostly review for midterm exam. Okay. 3 hours too long, right? Not more than that. But anyway, any other question before we start? Questions? Son, yes.
Teacher, can you leave uh, the online exercise we've been doing? Can you leave there
Pardon?
so we can revive?
Yes. Can you say it again?
Can you not close the online exercise that you just gave us on the slides so we can revive it?
This one.
Yeah, the one that
This
has
one.
34 questions.
Now I still open this one. You still Socrates, this one Socrates, right? You still accept in and do it.
Yes, thank you.
You can still accept this one and do it. Because there's some question we haven't it's okay. So you can do this question, and now this question is about tax, price ceiling, price floor, right? Okay, you can do this one. I still open it and you still lock in Socrates. Yes, it's different for today. let we continue to the lectures. Okay. All right. So see you. This one. Oh, this one had nothing to. Doesn't have nothing. Just a note. We all have this one. Okay, you want this one? I will put this one in e-learning. Okay, save. Save it. Yes, Camilla?
Sir, since this meeting is recorded, will
Ah,
it also be
I forgot to record the second part. I just forgot. I just recorded the first part. The first part. I will upload to the link.
Yes, sir. On Thursday, sir, are you also gonna record it? Because I
Yeah,
think
I will record this one. I will record this one.
okay.
Record it on Thursday. Okay. 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 Thank you. Any other questions? Any other questions? Okay, if you have no questions, we can stop here. But I hope that you actively participate in online class.